8 foods seniors over 65 should never eat before bed. Heart attack risk while sleeping. At a certain point in life, you start to realize that real wisdom isn't just in what you've done, it's in the choices you make every day going forward. The little things start to matter more. The conversations you have, the peace you protect, and yes, even the food you eat before you head off to bed. You've seen enough, lived through enough, and learned enough to know that well-being isn't something you chase anymore. It's something you nurture, slowly, intentionally. And tonight we're going to talk about something deceptively simple, but incredibly powerful. The foods that might be quietly stealing your rest. See, the older we get, the more our bodies begin to whisper what they used to scream. Things that didn't matter in your 30s now have a very different effect. That slice of chocolate cake before bed, it might be the reason you're wide awake at 2 a.m. staring at the ceiling. The glass of orange juice you thought was a healthy habit. It could be setting off your digestion just when your body is begging to wind down. Sleep isn't just sleep anymore. It's restoration. It's recovery. It's the difference between waking up ready to greet the day and waking up feeling like you never really slept at all. Now, this isn't about guilt or restriction. You've earned the right to enjoy your life. But when enjoyment starts to chip away at your energy, your clarity, or your sleep, it's worth asking, could there be a better way? Could changing just a few habits help you feel more alive in the morning, more steady in your mood, more sharp in your thoughts? The answer in many cases is yes. And it starts with your plate. Tonight, we're not just talking about nutrition. We're talking about peace of mind. We're talking about protecting your sleep like it's sacred, because it is. Each of these 8 foods might seem innocent. Some of them are even considered healthy. But for seniors over 65, the way our bodies respond changes. Digestion slows, sensitivities increase, and rest becomes more fragile. What worked before might not be working anymore. And that's okay. This is about making informed, wise decisions. Because wisdom is your strength now, you don't need trendy advice or fads. You just need the truth. And that's what we're diving into next. 8 foods that might be keeping you up at night, disturbing your sleep, or causing more trouble than they're worth. All revealed with the respect and clarity you deserve. Let's take care of the little things so your body can do what it's meant to do: rest, heal, and wake up ready for another good day. Number 1. Spicy foods. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a bit of bold flavor. In fact, food should be enjoyable, especially in this season of life, when comfort and tradition matter more than ever. But when it comes to spicy foods before bed, they can do more harm than good. The issue isn't necessarily the taste, it's what happens after the meal. As we age, our digestive systems naturally slow down. That means everything you eat takes longer to process. Now add chili peppers, hot sauce, or even that extra sprinkle of cayenne into the mix, and you've got a recipe for heartburn, indigestion, and sleeplessness. You might not even realize it's the culprit at first. Maybe you wake up with a burning sensation in your chest, or a dry cough that lingers in the middle of the night. Or maybe you just toss and turn, unable to get comfortable. That's acid reflux, one of the most common nighttime disruptors for folks over 65. And spicy food is one of its favorite triggers. Another problem is body temperature. Spicy foods naturally raise your internal heat, which might have been tolerable years ago, but now it can make falling asleep even harder. Your body needs to cool down to shift into deep sleep. If you're warming it up with spices right before bed, you're working against your natural rhythm. And it's not just the obvious hot dishes. Even milder spices in curry blends, salsas, or pickled vegetables can cause inflammation in a digestive system that's more sensitive with age. Here's the thing. This isn't about cutting out all spice. It's about timing. Enjoy those flavorful meals earlier in the day, when your body is more equipped to handle the heat. Give yourself at least 3 to 4 hours between a spicy dinner and bedtime. That small adjustment alone could give you a deeper, more restful night. Number 2. Citrus fruits. It sounds surprising, doesn't it? After all, citrus fruits like oranges, grapefruits, and even a bit of lemon water have long been seen as part of a healthy diet. They're bright, refreshing, and packed with vitamin C. But what many don't realize is that citrus, especially when eaten close to bedtime, can be more disruptive than helpful, particularly for seniors. First, citrus fruits are highly acidic. That acidity can irritate the lining of the stomach and the esophagus, triggering acid reflux or GERD symptoms. You might think it's just a little fruit, but for someone whose digestive tract is more sensitive now than it used to be, that acidity can spark a chain reaction. And just like with spicy foods, you may find yourself waking up with a burning throat, coughing, or that nagging discomfort in your chest. There's also the issue of sugar. Even natural sugars found in fruits can elevate your blood sugar levels late at night. This can create an energy spike at exactly the wrong time, when your body is supposed to be winding down. Then comes the crash, and with it a disruption to your natural sleep-wake cycle. Instead of sliding into restful slumber, your system ends up jittery, unsettled, or wide awake without knowing why. Another little-known fact: citrus can increase the need to urinate, especially if you're sensitive to it. That's one more reason you might find yourself waking up during the night for bathroom trips that weren't happening before. Again, this doesn't mean citrus is bad. It just means that bedtime might not be the best time. If you love an orange, enjoy it earlier in the day, perhaps with breakfast, or as an afternoon snack. That way your body gets all the benefits, without the nighttime disruption. Sleep is precious, and as we age, it's even more vital to protect it. A few small changes like moving citrus and spicy meals to earlier in the day can make a world of difference in how you feel the next morning. Number 3. Chocolate. Now, this one might catch a few people off guard. Chocolate, especially in small amounts, feels like a harmless little treat. Maybe it's a square of dark chocolate after dinner, or a spoonful of chocolate pudding as you settle in for the night. But here's the tricky part. Even a little chocolate can quietly work against your rest. The main issue? Caffeine.
Yes, even chocolate has it, particularly dark chocolate, which many people start to prefer as they get older for its health benefits.
While dark chocolate does have antioxidants and other perks, it also contains stimulants, caffeine and theobromine. These compounds can increase your heart rate, stimulate your nervous system, and make it harder for your brain to slow down and switch into sleep mode. It doesn't take much, either. A couple of squares of dark chocolate can have just enough caffeine to delay the natural production of melatonin, the hormone your body releases to help you feel sleepy. And for seniors whose melatonin levels are already naturally lower than they used to be, that little delay can lead to a long night of staring at the ceiling or waking up every hour. Theobromine, which is another naturally occurring stimulant in chocolate, also tends to have a stronger effect on older adults. It can cause a light racing in the chest or make you feel alert without realizing why. Some even experience mild restlessness or muscle twitching after eating chocolate too close to bedtime. You might chalk it up to stress or a bad night, but that little bite of chocolate could be part of the reason. Now, does that mean you should never enjoy it? Of course not. But timing really is everything here. Move your chocolate treats to earlier in the day, mid-morning or right after lunch. That way you still get to enjoy what you love without the nighttime consequences, because nothing feels more frustrating than giving up something sweet, only to find it's been stealing your sleep in return. Number 4. Red meat. There's something deeply satisfying about a hearty, savory meal. A grilled steak, a juicy burger, or a rich beef stew. These are comfort foods, and they've probably been a staple in your life for decades. But here's the truth. Red meat, especially when eaten close to bedtime, is one of the hardest things your body can try to digest. The problem starts with digestion. Red meat takes a long time to break down, much longer than lighter proteins like chicken, fish, or plant-based options. When you eat a heavy serving of red meat late in the evening, your body has to work overtime just to process it. That means instead of shifting into a state of rest and repair, your system is still wide awake working through the bulk of that meal. It's a bit like trying to fall asleep while someone's running the vacuum cleaner in the next room. Your body wants to rest, but it's still working, still digesting, still on high alert. Another factor is inflammation. Studies have shown that diets high in red meat, especially late at night, can increase inflammatory markers in the body. For seniors who might already be dealing with joint pain, arthritis, or other inflammation-related conditions, this can be a quiet aggravator. You may notice you sleep more stiffly, wake up sore, or have more difficulty getting comfortable through the night. Let's not forget about heart health. As we get older, our cardiovascular systems require even more care. Fatty cuts of red meat can lead to an increase in blood pressure and cholesterol, which, when compounded by disrupted sleep, puts more strain on your heart over time. And while the connection between food and sleep might not always be obvious right away, the long-term effects stack up. That doesn't mean you need to give up your favorite dishes altogether, but consider shifting red meat to a lunch meal instead of dinner. Or opt for a smaller portion and pair it with a lighter side, so it's not weighing down your entire digestive system overnight. It's not about losing joy, it's about gaining better mornings. When your body isn't burdened with heavy digestion, you sleep deeper, wake up clearer, and move through your day with more ease. Sometimes all it takes is a few thoughtful swaps to start feeling the difference. Number 5. Cheese and aged dairy. Let's talk about cheese. One of life's little pleasures. Whether it's a slice of cheddar with crackers, a bit of brie after dinner, or some grated parmesan on your evening pasta, cheese brings comfort and flavor. But here's the thing, especially for those over 65, cheese at night might be doing more harm than good, and not just in the ways you'd expect. Aged cheeses, like cheddar, blue cheese, parmesan, Gouda, and Swiss, contain something called theramine. It's a naturally occurring compound that forms as proteins break down in aged and fermented foods. Theramine can stimulate brain activity and increase alertness. Sounds counterproductive, right? That's because it is, especially when you're trying to wind down for the night. While your mind is trying to ease into relaxation, theramine is busy sparking stimulation, sometimes even triggering vivid dreams or restlessness. Then there's the digestive side of things. As we age, our ability to break down lactose, the sugar found in milk, often diminishes. Even if you were never lactose intolerant in the past, it's common to develop a sensitivity later in life. Eating cheese or other dairy products close to bedtime can lead to bloating, gas, and stomach discomfort that keeps you tossing and turning all night long. That slight pressure in your abdomen, it might be from that harmless-looking cube of cheese. There's also a surprising connection between dairy and restless legs. For some people, dairy can increase inflammation or sensitivities that irritate the nervous system. If you've ever felt your legs twitching or jerking right as you're about to fall asleep, it's possible your evening dairy snack could be a hidden cause. Now, this doesn't mean all dairy needs to go, but it's worth being mindful about which types, how much, and when. Lighter dairy options like plain yogurt or a small glass of warm milk earlier in the evening may not cause the same issues. And if cheese is non-negotiable, consider enjoying it at lunch or in the early part of the day instead. Sometimes a more peaceful night's sleep isn't about giving up things, it's about giving them their proper place in your day. Number 6. Sugary desserts. There's a certain comfort in a sweet ending to the day. A slice of pie, a bowl of ice cream, a couple of cookies with evening tea. It's a routine that's emotional as much as it is physical, but here's the truth most people don't like to talk about. Sugar is one of the sneakiest sleep disruptors out there, especially for seniors. When you eat sugar, especially refined sugar, it causes a spike in blood glucose. That's followed by a crash. And while you might think that crash would make you sleepy, it actually has the opposite effect. That roller coaster can lead to an increase in adrenaline and cortisol, two stress hormones that make it harder to fall asleep and harder to stay asleep. So you might feel drowsy for a moment, but wake up an hour or two later, restless, thirsty, and wide-eyed in the dark. Sugary desserts also affect brain chemistry. They can trigger a burst of dopamine, the feel-good hormone, which can keep your brain active when it's supposed to be winding down. Think of it like revving an engine when you're trying to park the car for the night. Your body's ready to rest, but your brain is still speeding along thanks to that dessert. Then there's the impact on mood. Sugar affects insulin sensitivity, which can lead to late-night irritability, anxious thoughts, or that unsettled feeling that's hard to pin down. You might not connect the dots, but waking up with a racing mind or odd dreams could stem from that sweet treat you had just an hour before bed. And let's not forget digestion. Many sugary desserts are also high in fat, like cakes, ice cream, and creamy pastries. That combination of sugar and fat means your digestive system stays busy well into the night, leaving you feeling sluggish and uncomfortable. Here's the beautiful thing, though. You don't have to give up sweetness. You just need to reframe it. Choose naturally sweet options like fruit earlier in the day, or if you must indulge, aim for a small portion a few hours before bed instead of right before you lie down. And remember, emotional comfort is important, but so is physical comfort. When your body is at ease, your mind rests more easily too. Sweet dreams should never be interrupted by sweet snacks. Number 7. Alcohol. Now this one might feel a little personal. Maybe you've enjoyed a small glass of wine in the evening for years. Maybe a nightcap has become part of your routine, something that helps you relax, settle down, and ease into sleep. It's a ritual, and rituals are sacred. But here's the truth. Alcohol doesn't help you sleep. It only makes you think it does. At first glance, alcohol can feel like a sedative. It slows down brain activity and makes you feel drowsy, so it's easy to assume it's helping. But the science and the experience of many older adults tells a different story. While alcohol can help you fall asleep faster, it also prevents your brain from entering the deeper, more restorative stages of sleep. So yes, you may fall asleep quickly, but it won't be the kind of sleep that actually leaves you feeling rested. For seniors, this is especially critical. As we age, our sleep cycles naturally become more fragile. We spend less time in deep sleep, and our bodies are more sensitive to disruptions. Alcohol fragments those cycles even further, leading to frequent wake-ups, vivid dreams, and that groggy feeling in the morning where you know you've slept, but it doesn't feel like it. Then there's the dehydration. Alcohol is a diuretic, meaning it pulls water out of your body and increases urination. That's one of the reasons it can leave you feeling parched in the middle of the night, or sending you to the bathroom at 2 a.m. You might also wake up with a dry mouth, a headache or muscle stiffness, all signs that your body was quietly stressed while you slept. And let's not forget how alcohol can interact with medications, many of which are common in later years. Mixing alcohol with certain prescriptions can amplify side effects, interfere with absorption, and increase the risk of falls or confusion, especially at night when you're already disoriented. This isn't to say you need to cut it out completely, but if better sleep is your goal, and for most people over 65 it absolutely should be, then it might be worth reconsidering when and how often you drink. Try skipping that glass of wine for a few nights and replacing it with a calming herbal tea or a warm cup of chamomile. You might be surprised at how much deeper and more peaceful your sleep becomes. Because real rest doesn't come in a bottle. It comes from treating your body with the care it deserves. Number 8. Caffeinated beverages, even decaf. Here's a sneaky one. Everyone knows caffeine can keep you awake, but what most people don't realize is how sensitive the aging body becomes to even the smallest amounts of it. And yes, that includes decaf. Caffeine has a long half-life, which means it stays in your system far longer than you might think. For some people, especially over the age of 65, it can linger for 8 to 10 hours or more. So even if you have that cup of coffee in the late afternoon, or a seemingly innocent decaf after dinner, your body might still be processing it when you're trying to sleep. But wait, isn't decaf supposed to be safe? Here's the thing. Decaf doesn't mean no caffeine, it means less caffeine. And for someone whose system is more sensitive now than it used to be, even that reduced dose can have an effect. Restlessness, shallow sleep, tossing and turning. It might all trace back to that mug of decaf you had with dessert. It's not just coffee either. Black tea, green tea, certain soft drinks, chocolate milk, energy drinks, and even some pain relievers contain caffeine. And if you're already struggling with falling or staying asleep, even trace amounts can be enough to tip the balance. Caffeine also suppresses melatonin, the hormone that signals to your brain that it's time to wind down. If you've been wondering why you feel alert late into the evening, or why your brain just won't shut off when you turn out the lights, caffeine could very well be the culprit. So what can you do? First, start reading labels. You'd be surprised how many evening products have hidden caffeine. Second, if you truly enjoy a warm drink before bed, consider switching to herbal teas like chamomile, rooibos, or peppermint. These not only avoid caffeine, they actually support relaxation and digestion. In the end, it's not about fear, it's about clarity. Your sleep is a cornerstone of your health. And if something as simple as swapping out a beverage can help you sleep deeper, longer, and more peacefully, it's absolutely worth it. Conclusion: rest is sacred. Protect it with wisdom. At this stage in life, every choice carries a little more weight, not because life is fragile, but because it's precious. You've lived through decades of experiences, learned countless lessons, and developed a deep understanding that your energy, your health, and your peace are worth protecting. And sometimes, that protection starts in the smallest places, like your dinner plate. We often think of food in terms of taste or nutrition, but it's so much more than that. Food affects how we think, how we feel, and how we rest. And when you're over 65, your body isn't working against you. It's simply asking for more care, more awareness, more kindness. It's telling you in its own quiet way what it needs to heal, to recharge, and to thrive. The 8 foods we've talked about tonight, they're not bad. They're not off limits forever. They're simply not your best companions right before bed. They sneak in through habits, through comfort, through routine, and without you realizing it, they chip away at the quality of your sleep. And when sleep suffers, so does everything else. Your memory, your mood, your movement, your strength. But the beautiful thing about wisdom is that it gives you power, the power to shift. Not with guilt, not with pressure, but with love for the life you're still building. You don't have to change everything at once. Just start small. Maybe tonight you swap out that late-night dessert for a calming tea. Maybe tomorrow you pass on the spicy dinner and opt for something lighter, one step at a time. Because the truth is, sleep isn't just rest. It's repair. It's renewal. It's your body's quiet way of saying, let me take care of you now. And when you give it the right conditions to do that, everything else starts to feel easier. Your mornings are clearer, your steps are lighter, your thoughts are sharper, and your spirit, it's more grounded than ever. You've earned that kind of rest. You've earned peaceful nights and energized mornings. So let your wisdom guide you. Let your choices reflect the care you have for yourself, because when you protect your sleep, you're not just making it through the night, you're preparing yourself for many, many good days ahead. Here's to deeper rest, better mornings, and the kind of sleep that carries your strength forward.